Hello, 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 YouTube. This is Lucky Alexander from Invisible Men, and today we on Legacy TV we have Cynthia from Colors. Cynthia, hello,
Morning.
hello.
Morning,
How
Lucky.
how are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing good. It's been interesting. This is 1 year into lockdown of a pandemic, but I really can't complain. I feel so fortunate to have a beautiful home, a beautiful partner, and a job, and still have the ability to do what we do at Colors.
Awesome. I totally
How are
appreciate it.
you?
I'm fantastic. We appreciate all the work that
Yeah.
you all do. So, if you could tell the folks your name, pronoun, how you identify, and where you're coming from today.
Absolutely. My name is Cynthia Ruffin. My pronouns are she and her. I am a proud lesbian. I'm the director of Colors, LGBTQ Youth Counseling Services that's run out of Antioch University, run out of the Antioch University Counseling Center at Antioch University in Culver City.
Awesome,
Oh, and let
awesome.
me tell you a little bit about what we do. Shall I
Hey,
tell you what we do
yes, that
at
would be
Colors? Let me just
that would be
go right
fantastic.
into that. So Colors, at Colors, this year we are celebrating our 10th anniversary of being in business. And for those 10
Congrats.
years, we've been providing, thank you so much. It's been a long haul, but a good fight all the way through. We provide free and unlimited LGBTQ affirming mental health services to young people under the age of 25. We also offer services to their families and their partners. And one of the things that is wonderfully unique about the service that we provide is that 98% of our therapists are trained through the LGBTQ specialization in clinical psychology at
Awesome.
Antioch University, which is a groundbreaking program. Actually, 18 years ago when it was begun, it was the first specialization in LGBTQ clinical psychology in the country. And still today, it's only one of a handful of specializations.
Oh wow, that is amazing. That is super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what types of services do you offer specifically for the trans community?
Well, I mean, our service goes right across the whole LGBTQ community. Um, and one of the things that's really, I think, important to note is that, like I was saying a moment ago, we've got a specialization in clinical psychology so that first is that students that come to Antioch University can really specifically learn how to be affirmative service providers to trans youth. We've got a
Okay.
couple of trans identified professors, on that team. Colors itself, I have a trans identified advisory board member. So we really try to stay, in front of the curve in terms of what the new information is that's coming out about serving the trans community,
Hmm.
and how to just go through being affirmative in our practices all the way. Now, a couple of months ago, not even a couple of months ago, probably 1 month ago, the Washington Post had an article that really looked at the fact um, um, that about 11% of Gen Zers are identifying as trans.
Mm,
So wonderfully, more people are feeling safe to actually be able to
right.
come out and speak and live their authentic selves. So just by us really being, ahead of the game in terms of the way we're able to provide services,
Hmm.
I think is a winner for us. The other thing is about 35% of the clients we serve
Hmm.
identify as trans or gender non-conforming or non-binary. So
Okay.
with looking at the numbers, what's happening nationally in terms of the numbers,
Hmm.
looking at the people that are coming to us for services, and looking at the fact that we have a service that's particularly geared towards affirmative services, I think are things that we can count in our favor. And
Awesome.
then just lastly,
Hmm.
this last year, as a way of really staying connected to our community,
Hmm.
Colors launched a speaker series.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
academic year, just, based on what's happening, really taking it from what's happening right here in our community in Southern California, we decided that this year it would really be beneficial to celebrate what's happening in the trans community. And I say celebrate because, and very specifically, because we didn't want to create a speaker series that was looking at trauma.
Gotcha.
especially trans trauma, trans trauma, racial trauma. Last year, so many people wanted to hear our trauma stories.
Right.
And while those stories are really real, the flip side of that is we have strong stories of resilience and of success and of joy. And we really wanted to speak to those issues, and one of them that I've been proud of, both of them that we've done so far, but I'm especially proud of the last one that we did, which was looking at, we called it specifically Black Love for trans, gender non-conforming, and non-binary youth. And we brought on Black family members of trans-identified young people. Some of them, some not so young anymore, but they had young people as they were coming up, kind of thing. And right there, we really wanted to debunk so much of the myth that Black families do not support their queer, and especially don't support their trans-identified children. And we really wanted to paint a new narrative. There are families out there that absolutely support our trans-identified youth, and we wanted their voices to be heard. And we think things like that are a support to the community, because not only do they let the broader community see, oh, look, this is what's happening, and this is what's happening that's great, but it also really empowers people who are trans-identified, or who maybe think they might be trans-identified, just know that they're different from what the dominant, paradigm says that we have to be like. So those people knowing that, oh, there is precedent, there is an example of families that support their youth, and I might be one of those family members too. So those are the ways in which we support.
Well, I think that you all are doing a fantastic job over there. Another question would be, why do you feel these services, mental health services, all of these different things that you all offer and provide, why do you think that this is important, especially to the trans community?
Well, just, historically, the trans community has gone through a lot, and so first I would say is that we all deserve a place in the sun. There's no place for hate, So on the one hand, it's kind of like, why not? And especially, let's speak to some of our least advantaged people. Absolutely, why not? And then for me personally, I mean, if we look at, for instance, ancient Eastern philosophy that looks at the idea of harmony and balance and yin yang, if there's dark, there has to be light, and that's what balance looks like. So then I figure it's part of my personal responsibility to be that opposing force for light and for good that really helps keep things in balance. And because I truly think that if we're all happy, then we're all happy. I'm not going to try and take my happiness at the expense of your happiness, because that really means that I'm not happy. Whatever I have, or whatever I feel I have, is some kind of temporary something. For me to really be happy, we all have to be happy. Now, there's this quote that I think is ascribed to James Baldwin that says, if we are blind and if we are silenced to the injustices of others, then those injustices will soon come to find us.
Understood.
So the idea that, what is it? An injustice to one is an injustice to all. So we have to, personally, I have to be in this fight. There's no other place for me to be but standing right here and doing the work of social justice, doing the work of uplifting, my siblings, all around.
I totally hear you loud and clear. And, once again, I can't do more appreciation for the work that you do and in those gaps that you stand in. So another thing, why do you feel like, as a cisgender ally, why do you feel that it's important to be an ally for the trans community?
Oh, yeah. Well, because for the longest time, right, us cis folks, I mean, have been held up as the norm. We have been held up as, this is what, I mean, I'm a Black lesbian, so I'm, in a certain respect, I'm way down there on the totem pole,
I get it.
But I am but I am a cisgendered person, and I acknowledge that I have privilege in this world. I have privilege that I'm cisgendered. I have privilege that I'm educated. I have privilege that I speak well. Privilege that I am seen to be the societal idea of what is attractive or good looking. I have a lot of privileges, and that gives me platform to stand on.
Right.
And my job then is to use that platform and use my voice in the service of others. And it's important for people like me to stand, because then other people who are like me, who see themselves as, oh, okay, I'm part of what's considered the norm, right? So that other people say, oh, she thinks it's okay. All right, so maybe then I can take another look. Maybe it is okay. So then I have the platform and the privilege and the ability to bring other people with me. And that's what I think is so important for cisgendered people to step in, because we're considered the norm. So, and what we're doing is growing the idea, evolving the idea of what the norm is.
Right.
Let's hope that in this lifetime we're going to evolve. We're going to evolve what we humans are actually capable of. And I think on the one hand, it's interesting, because I think on the one hand, we devolved, right?
Right.
Because if we look at things like, two-spirit, whereas almost way back in the day, although, in the indigenous community, they still really valued two-spirit, but we went through a time when Christianity came and Europeans came and really kind of wanted to change the idea of what indigenous people already knew was right and working and good for their communities. And we devolved into, oh no, man and woman. Oh no, Christianity. Oh no, this is the way it has to be done, right? So now we get to take some of that back and say, no, we're going to evolve back to where we're supposed to be.
Right.
And that is, two-spirit, and not only two-spirit, but many spirits. We're people with, gender non-conforming is, to me, doesn't say that, oh, I know that I have these two spirits, but really that I kind of have all spirits. God isn't two-spirit, God is all.
Right.
So that's why I think it's important that we just evolve back to what's right, what's normal, what we came into this world knowing, was right from the beginning.
Right. I totally hear that, and I resonate with that. Everything that you all are doing for our youth, on the mental health side, and in so many different ways, because the speaker series, I caught some of it. My mom was on there, and one of my other siblings. I think that the work that you all are doing with the speaker series is not just helping the youth, but I think that it's also providing some insight for those adults that may be trans, that may be still struggling with the parent piece, that may still be struggling with themselves, just kind of figuring out where they fit in the spectrum of things. So I think that even though your services that you offer for those that are up to 25, a lot of them are kind of reaching outside of that age bracket, because the rest of us get to kind of look on and go, well, maybe I should take that approach, or maybe I could talk to my parents in this kind of way, or just know that, it's okay that their parents didn't get it, right? Because my mom didn't get it from the gate. It wasn't like, hey, I came out and I was like, hey, mom, I'm trans. And she was like, okay, no problem. Like, there was a struggle. There was things that we had to work through to get there, right? But I think that just having that visibility around those particular speaker series is really good, because it gives perspective to other folks that may be outside of that age range that you all provide services for.
Exactly. And it allows people to see that there is hope. I mean, like you were saying, right out the gates, your mom wasn't on board right out the gates, but there is some kind of, okay, I'm going to stay with this. I'm going to stay in this conversation. I'm just not going to go like, well, forget you. out of here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, no, there's room to stay in the conversation and
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the fact that, you know, I'm, you know, if I'm talking about, for instance, my trans child, that I'm having a process too. I'm having
Mm-hmm.
a process, my child is having a process, and let's
Right.
walk through this process together,
Mm-hmm.
and let's find our way to the other side and find our way back to love.
Fantastic. So, one last bonus question.
No.
um, Tell me something about yourself that people wouldn't think that you do, like a hobby or something fun or interesting about you, and I'll model that for you. Like I fly helicopters.
Oh yeah, that's why the headset looks so good on you. It's just like I'm a circus performer. I teach
Really?
stilt walking.
That
Yes.
is amazing. Okay, that's
And
awesome. So just for
I
everyone
teach
out
it
there,
from a I teach it from an
yes,
old and African tradition, you know.
yes, that is
Yeah.
beautiful. So for all of you out there, come see Cynthia if you need to learn how to walk on stilts. She's here for
Do, yes. I'm teaching my
it.
girlfriend right now.
Awesome, awesome. That's super fun, super fun. One more last fun question. If you could be a gummy bear flavor, what would it be?
I would be sour apple.
Awesome sauce. Totally here for that. Totally here.
The
Fantastic.
tastiest one in the bag, I think.
So before I let you go, where can folks find you? Are there Instagram or social media handles, your website? Where can
Uh,
folks find you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Colors, we've got a brand new, beautiful website. It's colorsyouth.org. We're also on Facebook as Colors LGBTQ Youth Counseling Services, and our Instagram is Colors LGBTQ Youth. So find
Awesome.
us at all of those places. And we've got a brand new blog that will be starting in the month of April. We've got a youth blogger who's going to be blogging for us. They are Anon, the blogger, because they are blogging anonymously. And in
Okay.
their first blog, they'll talk about why they're blogging anonymously.
Awesome sauce. So, as
Yeah.
far as your youth blog, your blogger, is that just one blogger, or can we send youth that would like to add to the blog, or is that just how does that work?
Ooh, that would be something that we'd be looking into in the future. Absolutely. But
Okay,
because this is our first time doing it, we're going to start with one youth blogger
gotcha.
and go from there. But yeah, multiple youth bloggers would be awesome.
All right,
But not at this point, in the future.
gotcha. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Cynthia, thank you for being with us. Thank you for the
You're so
services.
welcome.
Thank you
Lucky,
for.
thank you for the work that you are doing. Thank you for Invisible T Men and the group that you know what you are growing there. I remember the very first time I met you was
Yes.
at a conference right by the beach and had such a wonderful conversation. And
Mhm.
you actually really wonderfully opened my mind. You know, I'm
Oh
not
wow.
I try to, just in terms of modeling for people, you know, especially when, you know, talking to students who do things like, for instance, misgender someone. And, you know, and the idea of modeling, you know, well, when you misgender, oh, you don't need to lose your mind over it. You just need
Right.
to step into it and keep on going forward.
Mhm.
And you modeled so much just in that brief conversation we had the first time. I feel like I learned so much from you and you expanded
Oh,
my mind. So I am really happy to have met you, and I really am inspired by the work that you're doing, and
thank you so
happy to be
much.
one of your colleagues out there in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, 100%. But like my papa used to tell me all the time, if everybody's working, it's not work.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
it works for me. So thank you again for being with us. Thank you again for being one of our partners with Invisible Men, and allowing us to be able to have folks places for our folks to go.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, and
You
hopefully I talk to you soon.
you too.